Night Terrors, Robin #2, written by Kenny Porter with art by Miguel Mondonco, Adriano Lucas, and Tom Napolitano. And if you remember for this story, we have Night Terrors Robin, which features Jason Todd and Tim Drake, who, for some reason, they're sharing a dream every now and again. Like, sometimes they're in their dream, they can hear each other through, like, dream walls. They can break through these dream walls to get into each other's dreams. But ultimately, it's just pretty much our sad sack Robin sitting here saying, man, I'm not good enough, and then telling each other, you know what, Jason Todd, you are good enough. You didn't fail. Other people failed you. Well, you didn't fail either, Tim. You did everything you did for everybody else. And I appreciate that to a degree, too. It's just always the same thing because...
That's the problem.
You have Jason Todd confronting Crowbars. You have Tim Drake confronting the death of his father from Captain Boomerang. They know they're in a dream. They know what's going on. But like even in Zatanna, the idea where our characters will know these things and they'll still wear them down until our characters end up feeling like they're going into what's it's not called the underbelly, but the underneath, like they're being sunk down because they've lost all hope. And it's in this place that Jason Todd and Tim Drake both find each other again, and they inspire one another, which elevates them back into the regular nightmare. Oh, yeah, it's okay. It's how I see it. It's just it's just kind of the whininess of those characters that like you always get with them. Like they still have to overcome for some reason. But it said we elevate each other into our regular nightmares, and then there's insomnia. What's all this? What's all this? I thought I took away all your hope. You can't have hope. So let's do everything that we did in the previous issue and the beginning of this issue all over again.
Yep, that is my problem. What you end up having is a really cool deal. I haven't read a lot of things with Jason Todd and Tim Drake, and the whole play of Tim being the Robin.
And the stuff you will read, it's all Jason being an asshole.
Yeah, so what you have, though, is here you have the next Robin, Tim, who was the one who kind of forced his way in. You end up having Jason, the outcast, but they're coming together. They're kind of building each other up. But the problem is, last issue we had, hey, guys, it's a nightmare. Hey, Jason, you got a lot of red hoods and some crowbars going at you. Oh, no. Hey, that's Tim Drake, your dad.
He got killed by my Boomerang. People in my life.
Oh, no. So in this one, they go, hey, Jason. It's almost like, I don't want to say prison cells. It really feels like they're at like a camp. And you, like me and you are at camp, and you're at the next
prison
tent.
Cells.
I like the idea because it's kind of nicer. You're in the next tent, and I'm yelling over to you, hey, Eric, you're pretty cool. And then you're like, shut up, shorty. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm like, what a dick. That's end scene. But no, it's, hey, you're pretty good. I think that you're better than you think, and you're not an outcast. We like you, Jason. Oh, well, if you're going to say that, I think you're pretty smart and one of the better Robins, and you're pretty good. All right, so what should we do? Let's go fight the things that we ended up having in the first issue to prove that we believe it's enough.
It's such a weird idea because when you have them trying to elevate each other out of the underneath the nightmare where they're like, you go where you have no despair. It's like, you're not alone, Jason, and you're stronger than you think, Robin. Now show them what you got. And our heroes elevate themselves back up to fight insomnia. And it's like, what are you guys doing here? I thought I got rid of this. Well, I guess I have to do it all over again. And then you have Tim, who even though he understands exactly what's going on, has to explain himself to Insomnia and his dead father who's attacking him. Like, look, I didn't do this. I have, tried to, yes, people have, died, but I've saved way more people. It wasn't my fault. The people who, I understand you need dialogue in a comic and stuff like that, but the idea that they're expressing themselves so much, they still have to defend themselves, even though they know they don't have to, because they just had that whole rah-rah speech to each other. It feels so
that's
weird
all you needed.
Unneeded.
And didn't it feel, it was funny because what you end up, and there's some neat things, but they just out of nowhere. You end up at one point where, Tim's like, no, I didn't, let everybody down. All of a sudden, these boomerangs come out of the floor with all the Bat family. It's a neat little visual, but it doesn't mean anything.
It's almost like a Freddy Krueger claw in a dream.
When you end up, and like we said, the idea where, hey, Tim, you're pretty good. It wasn't your fault. You saved everybody. You're awesome. That's enough. You don't have to have him almost whiny, bitchy try. Oh, come on, Insomnia. I'm really good because you don't need that. You're really over the top, just grinding it in, and it was a slog. This one was such a slog to get
I'm telling you, the moments for me, though, when we have our heroes go into the utter despair and they find each other and they elevate each other, it's a really nice moment between Tim and Jason. Even the point when, I'm kind of rolling my eyes at the way that Tim is approaching Insomnia and his dead father and everything that's frightens him from his past. When Jason's doing his thing, his nightmare sucks because they're just fucking these fucking red hood monsters that are attacking with crowbars. But when he decides he's not going to fight anymore. He's not going to do what they want because he's the Robin who never does what he's told. He lays down his arms and he's like, I don't need to do this by myself. I have backup. And he says, Tim, I need your help. And he just sits there and waits for Tim because he has faith and trust that Tim will find a way to him, and Tim does. And I'm like, that was a nice moment.
Yeah,
I
that
dug
was
that.
nice.
And then you had both the Robins together right there to try to take on both of their fears and nightmares and work through their pain together to move themselves even further up into their subconscious, into the real world.
I think one of the plays here, though, when you're doing this, you have to set it up that I understand one of the rules that Harley just came out of nowhere and said, well, we haven't really seen it come to play that much, but maybe with Dead Man, we're not sure. But the idea if you die in the dreams or nightmares, you die in real life.
Jim, that's just common knowledge.
Well, that is actually.
I watched Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1 and 3 the other day. I know how shit happens.
Well, but my problem is when you're dealing with that, I never once thought that any of these characters would die. So you have to play it a little, and he does play
You're right. Somebody should have died.
Well, somebody should have. You have to.
Angel Breaker.
Yeah, really. Well, it's a Flash usually then, but you end up where all this going on. I liked the moment, but it wasn't like I was at the edge of my seat. I knew what was going to happen. I was waiting for it. It was still nice, but the way that you set this up, it really was just set up, yell about the setup, get back to the setup to fight it, then explain it again, and then team up. And at least one thing here, which I don't think will happen though anyway, is they are sharing I like when you get out and then Jason's like, I don't even know if that was really Tim. I would laugh if it wasn't, but at least they came to an agreement and liked each other, and that might carry over.
And they woke up in the real world, and they're going to go meet up right now because Jason thinks that somebody needs a beat down. He doesn't want to do it alone. On my way, brother.
And that's nice, but where else will you have? Because one of the things, just going by solicits, I don't know anything of what Tim's going to be doing. But Jason joins up with Catwoman in the Gotham War and goes against the Bat Family, so maybe this is all thrown out. Which I don't think it means anything.
I'm telling you right now, Tim's always a good little soldier. He wants to be Robin more than anybody else, and that's been his identity. It's been a part of his identity crisis for so long that it is a part of him, because like knowing that he needs to be Robin because he doesn't have anything else, doesn't know who he is. But maybe after this experience, if we have some weird synergy that continues on after Night Terrors, Tim Drake will actually team up with Jason Todd with Catwoman against Batman for the first time, because with all the stuff that he's been doing all of this time, Batman, it hasn't been working. And Tim has some ideas. We saw that in James Tynan's, like Detective Comics, that he has things that he thinks will work better than what Batman. So there's a possibility that maybe that will do. Again, I'm just saying all this. I don't think it'll happen either, but it could be cool.
I would say no chance, because the idea that the Tim Drake that we're dealing with is the Chip Zdarsky Tim Drake, who just went through the multiverse to save Batman. He's not going to go against him. If he does, that's ridiculous. Well, the play is you end up having interviews and things like that. After Night Terrors, Batman comes out and then falls asleep for 2 months again to set everything up. Maybe they're pissed off. They're like, look at this lazy ass. I didn't fall asleep. Look, Jason and Tim, they ain't falling asleep, but that was the play leading into it. That would be a
cool division that you'd never see, though. Let's say we have the 4 Robins, right? And I'm not going to count Stephanie Brown. I'm going to piss a lot of people off by doing that. But you have, Dick and Damian follow Bruce because you feel like they would, right?
They would.
And then
always,
you have Tim and Jason follow Selena. And there'd be this weird, breaking of the family that would be really interesting to me.
I say always with Damian. I mean against Selena. There's no way he's joining up with Selena.
Damian now, at least.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, he was walking around in the sand dunes saying it's hard to be the father and son, and he wants to do that. But
better way to try
Dick,
than
there's
a Gotham
no
War.
way. You are not getting, if anything in that Gotham War has where Dick Grayson is going, or even Barbara goes against Batman, then bullshit. I will call bullshit until the day
I'm just going to wait for the weird thing, because out of nowhere, it's going to be like we had in the War of Jokes and Riddles, where for some reason Bruce Wayne is going to sponsor either the Riddler or the Joker for $1 billion. And that's where Dick Grayson's going to come in. Look, who wants me to back them with $1 billion to fund their Gotham War?
Well, it's Heartless, obviously. Heartless is there. He's out with it all. But yeah, overall,
what a stupid story that was. People love that. I'm like, that part made no sense because Bruce Wayne never made a decision, and then the next issue, Batman, not Bruce Wayne, but Batman is working with Riddler.
Yeah, murder. Yeah. But all of this going down, what would you give this issue?
This is a very disappointing issue with a few, like I'm telling you, a handful of cool moments for Robins that I love, but the scenarios that you put these characters that I love into, it's just the basic bitch stuff. And then you just repeat the stuff that we already did to the point where it is just boring with characters that I love. And I hate when that happens because that should never happen for me. And in the handful of moments, like the art was okay. Like I think for some reason the Tim Drake stuff was way better than the Red Hood stuff, but it shouldn't have been, but that's the way it felt. And I'm going to give it a regular 5 out of 10, I think, because it was a disappointing issue with some okay moments here and there, but it did not do enough to make the issue good overall.
Amazingly, I'm going to go a little higher than you with a 5.5 because I did like those moments. The concept of it, if you end up saying to me beforehand, listen, first off, we were like, why are they sharing you're never going to find out rules in these nonsense things. But at the beginning, if you said, hey, it's going to be Jason and Tim, and they're going to kind of come together and inspire each other. All right, that elevates up to a 5.5 for me. But the whole play of it and how it ended up going, it was boring. It was boring, and you just repeated.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.